Thank you for tuning in to another session of A to Z Graphology's Wednesday live Graphology sessions. Let's carry on with today's topics and queries and let's see how it goes. So, in the last 1 week or so, I have been receiving quite a few questions and very intelligent questions actually about how people want to know more about graphology. So, we'll just get on with that and then let's carry on with today's sessions. I hope my voice is clear. Today I'm shooting my video from my cell phone and I've got my list of questions all ready over here. Okay. All right. So the first question which I have noticed here today is that where does a person where does a person see honesty from the handwriting? One person asking me this because there was some kind of a maybe some issue or some kind of a problem with some relation of the person, and now they just want to know how they could understand the nature of their problems in terms of this, let's say, honesty. How do you get to know whether the person is honest? Now honesty is going to be dependent on many different factors, and it all comes down to the factor of what type of honesty or what kind of personality the person wants to show himself for. Okay, just a minute. I'll just adjust this camera. Okay. All right. I think this is fine. Okay. So we had one question here: how to see honesty. Now, honesty is a very subjective matter. Why? Because it all comes down to what the person chooses to express honestly and what the person chooses to not want to express or lie directly about. So the first thing which we have to understand is that if you learn graphology, you learn about different letter structures and different combination of strokes. Generally, when the person has a letter structure that manipulates to such an extent where it doesn't look like the letter it's supposed to, that is when we see that there's some form of manipulation. And in a way, dishonesty is a kind of a manipulation, right? So, whenever we come to the point of manipulation and dishonesty, we have to look at which letter structure is getting distorted. Now, remember, if you're, let's say, letter A has become thin, fat, it looks slightly disfigured, that's fine. But if it looks like CI, like instead of the A being closed, it's broken up and now it looks like a CI. Now that is where we need to be careful, because when a person has got a letter structure that looks different, the uh, A now looks like CI. Home, the A which represents comfort zone, is now representing something apart from comfort zone. So what will happen is that since the person's A is distorted, it's something about the person's home, something about the person's comfort zone that they are going to be dishonest about. Okay. Now, this dishonesty is not to be judged, it's just to be observed. Sometimes a person's dishonesty is more out of a compulsion. Sometimes a dishonesty is more out of a hiding or a scrupulous intent. Sometimes the dishonesty could just be for fun. They don't care, they don't want you to know something about them. So they don't want you to know. So why a person is dishonest? There's another topic for that. But what the person is dishonest about, we have to look at the letter structure. So let's say, for example, you have a child and he knows how to write his alphabets correctly, but his letter D is not coming out correct. His letter D looks like some other letter. It is very distorted, very contrastingly different. So what we have to understand is what letter D means, and that topic is what the child is not wanting to be honest about. Okay. Remember, since you are getting a key into the person's perception of dishonesty, you have to respect that the person was dishonest out of choice. Whether it's your child, whether it's your spouse, whether it's for anybody, the desire to be dishonest to you should be respected. Once you understand the nature of the dishonesty and the person in front of you is ready to talk to you about it, knowing that now you know where the dishonesty has come from, that means that then you got a free open space to talk about it. And even then, if you find out that the person is being dishonest about something and they're happy about it, they don't mind, they don't care, they're happy, so then that's their opinion, that's the way things are. Now if you made an environment such where honesty is punished, or honesty is difficult, or honesty is not going to be good for the person, then it's not going to be easy for the person to be honest. Of course, when you do something wrong and you try to hide it, you try to manipulate, then that is obviously not good. So just make sure that when you look at a handwriting sample, any form of deformity in the letter structure which is more than what the letter structure should be, then we now know that there's a kind of a dishonesty. Okay. Dishonesty can be positive or negative. It's like if I want to give somebody a good surprise, I have to be dishonest to them until the surprise is revealed, right? That doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It's just that how you're going to use this aspect of dishonesty is very important. If the intentions are malignant and manipulative, then you have to be careful. All right. So now let's go for the questions which we have to answer to. Okay. So, all right. So the first question which I have seen over here, next question I've seen here. This next question here is, what is the use of signature? How important is a signature for daily life? Well, nowadays, signature is not used as much as it used to be, but its importance is just as impactful as it was since the time people have been using signatures. Signature represents who you are to the public. It's a part of your personality. It's a glimpse of you. Normally, when we do handwriting analysis and signature analysis, we compare handwriting to the signature. Why? Because we see that the handwriting is a character, and from there, one aspect of the person, which is a personality, is what is trying to be shown in the way of the expression. Okay, so in way of expressing personality, you could say. So personality is one thing where we need to realize that uh, it's a choice of how you want to represent yourself in public. Okay. Some people have gentle signatures, some people have rash signatures, some people have overlapping, confused, confident, all different types of signatures are there. Okay. So whenever you want to have a signature analysis, or you want to understand the power of a signature, just remember it is a choice of the person's desire to show a glimpse of who they are. It's like a trailer of the movie. If you see a trailer or you see a promo of a movie, it's a 2 minute glimpse of what the movie could be. They're not going to tell the whole story, right? You don't understand the nature of the movie from the trailer. You get a glimpse of it, you kind of get the idea of it, but that's it. That's what a signature is for you. Now, we don't use it as often, but it's why it's important is because as soon as somebody looks at your signature, Even if they don't know graphology, they get certain vibes from the signature. Vibe means what? Let's take, for example, I have this clean handkerchief for here. Okay. Now, if I were to tell you this handkerchief costs $10 or something, you'll say, okay, it looks neat and nice, I'll take it. But the same handkerchief, if I crumple it and now I'll tell you, okay, here you go, please give me $10. It's the same handkerchief, it's same clean and brand new, it's just as before. But now because it's crumpled, you don't want to go for it. Okay, you feel a little awkward. So as soon as I open it up back again and I straighten it out and make it look nice, now again it's looking good. So I'm not an handkerchief expert, I'm not a garment expert, I'm not an expert of geometries, but I know this looks better than this. So similarly, when a signature is messy, it attracts a certain kind of mess. If the signature is good quality, then you attract good quality. Okay. So I have a list of 7 videos on my YouTube channel. You can tune in as and when you are comfortable. And with this, what will happen is you can understand what are the basic, you could say, guidelines of how to make a good signature. If your signature is made well, certainly you will be able to represent yourself better. And just think of it, your property papers, your car papers, your education certificates, important documents are re- representing you. I mean, your signature is representing you on those documents. And if your signature is a mess, it's not going to lead to a good experience of who you are as a person in terms of your personality, and the person who looks at it or the energy that it carries is always going to be some kind of a negative thing. It's good to have a nice signature, it's good to have a powerful signature. It represents you, it represents who you are as a person, and it can be quite interesting that way. Okay, so I hope that signature question was answered. I had one question which somebody had asked me. Yeah, I have another question over here. What if a person writes a short L compared to a long L or a tall L? So let's take, for example, you're writing the letter L or you're writing the letter H. H is a good letter to do with this. So if your letter H starts to look like letter N, where the tall part of the H becomes really short and it becomes almost in the middle zone. If your upper zone is short, this means that you are not able to think too much about the future. You don't want to think too much about the future. You want to just go with the flow. Even if you plan something, it's not a very intricate plan. You don't want to find out too many details, and you're mostly chilled out. Whereas a tall upper zone, when it goes really good, at least double the height of the middle zone. So if this is your middle zone, then your upper zone should be at least that much. So the thing is that when you have a tall upper zone, it shows your desire to push yourself forward towards information, push yourself forward towards better planning, better thought patterns, uh, better future aspects of life. Okay, if you're planning to go to a big trip or you want to do some important career decision making, then a tall upper zone can be very helpful. Okay, all right. So the next one is next question here we've got how to get better at combination of traits. So if you're doing analysis of writing and you are wanting to improve your analysis, I think last time I had mentioned this, that if you combine different thought patterns, different letter structures, different analysis points, then you will see that you are able to get a variety of different new perspectives about a sample. Okay. So now the thing is, let's say for example, you see a narrow starting margin and wide line spacing. So now we know a narrow starting margin is a person who's slightly attached to the past. They want to be close to their relatives, teachers, elders. They can't let go. They can't move out. They can't think of a life without aspects of their past close to them. Okay. Now combine this with uh, wide line spacing. So the person is attached, but he's got wide line spacing means that he wants to space out his day. He doesn't want to do too many habits and he's feeling a bit lazy. He's on a vacation mode. So it seems that he is feeling leisurely while he is attached to his past. Okay. So you see, when you combine the two topics, it gives you a new experience of this person's mindset. Why I'm saying experience, it's not just information, it's experience. I want you to feel the experience of that trait in you. If you are nostalgic, if you are attached to the past, if you are feeling very close to who you like in the past, and you had a free day, chilled out vacation mode day, okay, how would you behave? How would you interact with the world around you? So if you get that vibe within you and you're able to feel that thought pattern, then what happens? You'll be able to uh, manage your analysis a little better. And once your analysis becomes better, then it's just a matter of increasing the number of things that you use to combine. Okay, all right. So I hope that will answer the question. You can of course come and practice with me handwriting analysis. All my students who learn from me, they do practice with me. I make sure that their skill is good. And if you do combination of analysis, you'll never be bored. You always have something else to think about. Always have something to do. Always something new to go for. Okay. So that's it. Good question. Thank you very much. Now the next question. How does it matter if you change the type of pen that you use? Now, ideally speaking, the type of pen does not affect the way you express yourself on the paper, but I've seen that different types of flow of ink, like ballpoint pen, gel pen, ink pen, foil pen, fountain pen, crayon pen, there's so many types of writing instruments the person can use to give you a sample. Now, the problem is that on a character level, at a certain deep level, it doesn't affect the way the person's handwriting is. But I have seen a different kind of a feeling, slight variations in the letter structure with different type of pen. Now each pen has got its slight influencing factor. Like let's say for example, an ink pen or a calligraphy pen makes you want to look write a bit slowly but more beautiful. A gel pen makes a bit more affirmative kind of a writing, and a ballpoint pen has more speed and quicker nature. Okay, so whenever you have this kind of a thought pattern, whenever you have this kind of a understanding of how a pen could affect or how a pen can change the nature of your analysis, it is not too much, but it is slightly effective. This I'm going to be teaching in my courses very soon. I'm doing research on it. So once the research is complete, then I'll be able to uh, express this topic much better. But it is a topic under research, so stay tuned. And when the time comes, I'll be able to mm, express the knowledge that way. All right. So next question here is, how much time does one need to take for analyzing a person's writing? Well, it depends on two people's mood. The person who is receiving the sample analysis and the person giving the analysis. You can do a very good analysis in 5 minutes, and it can be good enough for many people. And there's some people, even after an hour of talking to the person, still they'll ask for more points about themselves. So, ideally, 5 minutes, max 10 minutes is good enough for any handwriting analysis. But if you take more time than that, then it can become a bit of a difficulty. Okay. See, the more time you take, then what happens is that you have to make sure that you are not repeating your points, and you have to make sure that you're not unnecessarily, what I would say, being monotonous when you're analyzing. Okay. So I hope that has answered the question. Now we got another question here. Assuming that A is a semicircle circular O with a stem close to the loop, how does distortion of the semicircle affect the meaning of A? Okay, so what this person has said is that letter A is like letter O, but with an extension that makes it an A. So if the semicircle, if there's a problem in this semicircle, what happens to the A? Well, that depends on what kind of deformity. If it becomes thinner, it means that there's a kind of a pressure the person feels at home or in the comfort zone. If it is broad, that means that when you have a broad letter structure, it shows that the person is feeling a bit lazy at home, or the home or the comfort zone aspect reminds them of being lazy or being chilled out, relaxed, slow work, slow activity, less activity. Okay. So what you can do is that you can sign up for my course called Micrographology, and in that course, I'll be able to explain much more details, because there I teach 19 concepts of micrographology, which are like a building block of all letter structures, whether it's English or French, Japanese, Chinese, doesn't matter. It just any language can be analyzed once you know those 19 geometric concepts. Okay, so as far as letter structure analysis is concerned and queries related to letter structures, it gets into a very deep conversation. So please come into the course, and I'll be happy to answer them in a more elaborate way. Okay. So next question is, what does self scratch mean in the signature? Self scratch. I'm not sure what you're trying to say by self scratch. So I don't know what that formation means. So if you could send me an image of the query that you have to my WhatsApp number. I'll just share my WhatsApp number on the chat box here. Okay. I'm sure you received my um, okay. Yeah. So you received my WhatsApp number. Please send me an image of the query which you have, and then I'll be able to explain it better. Okay. All right. Let's go for the next question. Mm, okay. Okay. So next question is, person mentioned here, I want to change my signature. If you want to change a signature, you can go through my 7 videos playlist which is there on my channel, and with that you can learn how to make your signature better. If you can't handle it on your own, I'll be happy to help you on a personal consultation basis. Okay. All right. Okay, next question here. Do I design logos? Yes, I do design logos for companies and startups and anybody who wants to have a graphic as a brand or a graphic that represents themselves. So yes, I do design logos, and I'll design logos based on the handwriting of a person. So if your handwriting represents you in a certain way, then that is what I'm trying to capture. And once I'm able to capture that, then I'll be able to uh, design a logo based on the handwriting. So normally when I get a request to design a logo, I ask for the person's handwriting sample, and when the person writes about a certain points which I specify to them, then this information gives me clues about their mindset, and we try to see what is the strengths and weakness of the person, and we make sure that the logo highlights the strengths and kind of helps the person overcome the weakness. Okay, let's take for let's take for example a person who's got a shy introvert nature. They don't want to talk too much, they don't want to be too much out in the world, they don't want to talk to anybody, but now they want to be in business. Now if you're going to be in business and you can't talk to somebody, then that could be a trouble. So we try to make a logo that represents them or their thoughts as well as possible, so that the logo does the work of communication or at least starting the conversation, and then later on he can take it from there. Okay, so logo and signature are both very similar in terms of what they do. Signature represents you and logo represents your business. In a way, your business is your child, it's your baby. So if your business is represented correctly, like how you name your child with a good name, you have a wonderful meaning behind the name of your child. Similarly, when you have a brand name and is represented in a certain way, it should be representing it as possibly as good as possible. And when it's represented well, it can attract more business. All right. So that's a lovely question. Thank you. Next, all right. So next question is, okay, what if a person's V looks like a U, or the sharp part of V, which should be angular below, is becomes soft? So a soft V means that the person is not able to enact quickly uh, as soon as he gets a good idea, or there are times when you get a eureka moment in your mind and you get a fast thought. Somebody asks you a question and you have to respond as quick as possible, not because the answer is difficult or anything, but it's that it's obvious that the answer should come out quickly. So let's say for example, you ask me what's the color of the t-shirt I'm wearing, so I say green color. So that answer should come quickly, right? The V represents this quickness, this fast nature. But if you have a V that is blunt and it looks almost like a U, then when you ask me this question, and if I have this blunt V structure, I'll look at this and say, yeah, I think it's green, but maybe not so green. Maybe it's a bottle green. So what happens is that the person just takes time where he's supposed to be quick. You're traveling in a public transport, you're taking a bus ticket, and you're at the counter buying a ticket for yourself. And there at the counter, if you start to decide where you want to go, then it's going to harass the person behind you and it's going to irritate the person in front of you who's trying to give you the ticket. So first you have to, when you've decided and you've taken your time to decide, and then you go to the ticket counter and you buy the ticket as quickly as possible. So the sharper the V, the the sharper the person's response to his requirement of things and the requirement of the nature of what he does. And see, U is good when it is supposed to be U. V is good when it's supposed to be V. But when they both change roles and they don't play the role correctly, write the role you write the word have and your V looks like U. Now it reads something different. So that is a kind of a manipulation of letter V. All right. I hope that has answered the question. All right. So next is what is a river mark stroke? Sorry, I've never heard of what is a river mark stroke. If you could send me an image of what you're trying to express, then maybe I can answer your question. All right. In which letters one should avoid retrace? Well, retrace is a. What does retrace mean? Retrace means that you want to confirm a thought. You want to confirm things. Like let's take for example, you buy a cell phone from online and you go to the email to confirm the order. You call the retailer or you connect with the company who's going to provide you with the delivery service. Is the cell phone coming? You talk to the supplier. So when you want to confirm, that's when the retrace happens. Now, ideally speaking, there's no right or wrong place to have a retrace. It's all depending on your lifestyle. But yes, there's there are three letter structures in the English alphabet where we recommend the person to avoid retracing. This is at the end of the letter B, P, and S. When you finish the letter B, P, and S, when you want to connect it to the next letter, normally the connection becomes a retrace. This retraced connection has has shown a lot of trouble, especially in terms of health uh, issues. A person who connects the B, P, and S, normally they have to either make a loop through the B, P, and S or make a retracing along that same line. So this is where we tell the person stop doing the retracing there, avoid connecting B, P, and S to the next letter. Any letter before that, it's fine. So let's say, for example, you're writing the word about. Okay. So A, B, O, U, T. So I would connect A and B, but I would not connect B and O. Okay. Let's say I write the word ape, A, P, E. I would connect the letter A and P, but not P and E. So any letter after the B, P, and S, avoid connections. In fact, now I don't know how many people are going to watch this video. So let's do a live research. Let's see if y'all can respond and help out improving my research. If you have somebody who has blood pressure in your handwriting, sorry, blood pressure in your family, your grandfather, your grandmother, some mother, some uncle, they've got blood pressure, okay? And tell them to write a good quality B, P, and S and don't connect any letter after B, P, and S while they write. Okay. If by chance they write it, cancel the word, again write the same word without the letter B, P, and S connected after the letter structure. Do this for 3 months, 90 days, 3 months, and see if it makes a difference in their blood pressure uh, trouble. Like if it's too much high blood pressure, too much low pressure, it should be able to regulate the blood pressure. Now, of course, this part of the research is still at the hypothesis level. It's not confirmed. It can be completely wrong, and or it could be brilliantly correct. But highly suspect, based on my experience so far in graphology, and based on my observations of people having heart issues and their letter B, P, and S, I've seen that whenever a person connects B, P, and S with that retrace or that loop after the letter structure, I've seen them having blood pressure issues, and it can be at any age. Age 25, it can be age 79, it can be age 42, doesn't matter. The person will have irregular blood pressure if these three letters are connected in an awkward way. If you've not yet understood what I mean, please connect with me directly. I'll send you the structure of the letter which I'm telling you to avoid. And if you see that in somebody's writing, maybe you can talk to them about the health issue that could be impending in them. Okay. All right. Today's session is really interesting. Good questions so far. Okay. So we've got another 20 minutes left. Please do send in your questions and queries if you have any, and I would love to attend to them. Okay, so we have a question here. Uh, okay, next question here is, what is the advantage of a doctor for learning graphology? Okay, this is a very interesting question, and I have had the fortune of training many doctors as far as graphology is concerned. And what's happened is that this is their feedback, what I've received so far. Mm. The nature of their perspective of diagnosis improves. Generally, when a person goes to a doctor for any health checkup or any health issue, 90% of the test is only at a physical level. Okay, what's your blood pressure, what's your x-ray, what's your sonogram, what's the symptom, the doctor touches your different parts of the body to just check out if it's fine. So physical checkup is fantastic in the medical industry right now. The amount of information that we can get from the different tests is mind boggling. But a person's problem can be triggered by emotional and mental stress, and these two aspects of the body of the human being, which is so important, is rarely considered while diagnosing the person's problem. Especially long term chronic problems are rarely considered with mental and emotional problems. What the doctor would normally say, oh, you got a lot of stress, you got a lot of emotions pent up, go do some yoga, go some do some exercise. And you see, if there's a physical problem, the diagnosis and the medicines are elaborate, but if there's a emotional and a mental problem, the diagnosis and the treatment is very minimal, like almost non-existent. Okay. In fact, some of the doctor says, forget emotional and mental things. You just have this tablet, you'll be fine. You have this pink color tablet, you'll be good. You have this blue color tablet, you'll feel better. So even the emotional satisfaction and the mental peace of mind is transferred to a tablet. Now, maybe the placebo effect has a huge um, reality and it does work. But to what extent? Because once the person stops the medicines, once the person stops that pink color pill which makes them better, then even the psychology goes with that. Now the person returns back with the same problems and then he goes back to the doctor with the same problem, and then the doctor is wondering what's wrong with this person. Okay. So those doctors who learn graphology, they certainly have an advantage in the diagnosis of that person's problem, and it can improve the overall healing. When we have a problem in the body, we want to heal it. Now, healing can be from within also. I know so many people's major health issues just disappearing because they played with a child for some time. They played with a small animal for some time. They massaged their feet after bathing for a couple of months. They practiced politeness for 3 months without any break. In fact, this was one therapy which I gave to a person recently. I told that person, just be polite to everybody who comes in front of you, no matter what, no matter how rude they are, no matter how selfish they are, how mean and nasty they are. They did something wrong to you, you have to be polite. You can tell them whatever you want, but the nature of the tone of voice has to be polite. Okay. If you want to use some slang language, no problem, but do it politely. Okay. So when he finished this 90-day practice, this 3 month practice, his whole attitude towards people, his whole attitude towards himself also changed. And this cleared his stomach issues, this cleared his backache, this cleared his, he had also certain dental issues because he had a lot of anger trapped in him, but that politeness made him feel more calm. And you see, there's no medicine given for his physical problem, but we were able to sort out the issue either way. Okay. Now it's very difficult for me to recommend a graphotherapy as a 100% healing modality for certain things because the research is not as strong as compared to the medical industry. In medical industry, there are millions and thousands of trials, clinical trials, and so much data, so much research being done, and then you get a tablet in the market. You get a cure, which is good. It should be done that way. Now, as far as emotional patterns are concerned and mental difficulty patterns are concerned, it's very difficult to have a sustained study because everybody's perception of emotion can be different, mentality can be different. If I have a loss of, let's say, 1,000 rupees today, maybe I would feel extreme stress, but some other person would not even bother about it. Some other person may feel suicidal if they had a 1,000 rupee loss. So different levels of society, different areas of life, different characters, different personalities, they got different perceptions of the same emotion. That's why the study of this and the diagnosis and the result, it works, but it's not easy to recommend as a confirmed source because uh, the nature of the human being is such that it constantly changes, and the one therapy may be good for the one person, but the other person may not get that much benefit from the same therapy. That's why when I do graphotherapy for somebody, it is personalized. It is made sure that it is that sequence of actions and suggested things are meant for them only. Okay. Okay, so we have quite a few questions here. I hope I'm able to answer all of them. Okay, so next is okay. Uh okay. So we have another question here. Where does uh okay. How do you improve interest in a person? Okay. Does that mean you like a person and you want them to like you, or do you want to detect whether the person likes you from the handwriting? So, when a person likes somebody, like when you say a new girlfriend boyfriend kind of a relationship building up, friends becoming closer, a marriage is confirmed, engagement has happened, you're feeling close to somebody. Generally, what we see is that the roundedness of the letter structures becomes very consistent and smooth. I've seen that the O's look nicer, the A's look healthier, the G and the Y, the W, the the middle zone becomes very consistent. Now, this can be for a person, this can be for a subject of study, it can be for a pet animal, it could be for getting a job which you always wanted. Wherever you feel excited and loved and cared and positive and life becomes nice, that's where you find these traits. So if you find that the person's handwriting has got very good letter structure, especially the rounded parts, so what you'd have to see is that you have to see the earlier sample of the handwriting where, let's say, the person before they met you, what was their handwriting. If you can get a glimpse of that and then compare it to how they are right now in front of you, it can give you clues of whether the person has grown in fondness or he's gone the other way. Okay, because what happens is that in many societies, expressing fondness and expressing love, expressing joy, expressing the desire to be with somebody is very difficult for people. There are entire movies that show that for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, the hero is just trying to tell the girl that he likes her. And at the end of the whole movie, finally he says it. Instead of just going up and saying, I like you. Of course, there are some people who take this literally and just go and say to anybody who looks nice or whatever, yeah, I like you, I like you, I like. That's not good. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you genuinely like somebody, and it's difficult to verbally say it, but if you have the skill of anti-analysis, you can see your friend or your close ones handwriting, and you can get clues. So if you get clues, you can be a nicer person and make it easier for them to express. Or you can open up the topic yourself and go and tell the person what you feel. Okay. You don't have to reciprocate. It's your choice whether you want to go with the person's feeling of fondness for you or you want to avoid it. But there's a nicer way to do both these things. Okay. So, all right. So, thank you very much. Lovely question. Uh, is there a systematic pattern for which you observe traits in a sample to analyze? So, I don't have a set pattern. I just go with the trait which is most easily visible. Okay. Let's take for example, if you got hurt in five places and when you went to your mama to, you went to your papa, you went to your hospital to complain about the hurt that you got, the physical bruises. You fell down from your bike, something happened to you. You got hurt in five different places. Now, which place you'll show first, the place which is hurting the most, correct? Like you'll say, oh yeah, this whole arm is all, it's become a mess, I need to take care of this. Then as the person is trying to take care of this, oh look at this also, I got a big lump over here, this also needs to take care of. And as you try to look at your body wondering where you got hurt, you see, oh, I got a scratch here, I got a dent here. So normally what hurts most gets highlighted most, or in a sample what's most obvious to observe, you start from there. And once you start from there, once you get the first two to three observations and you combine them, and then the story picks up from there. Okay, that's why it's always a interesting experience to analyze writing, because you never know what's the next sample going to show you and what's the next combinations you're going to meet and going to do, and it's really exciting. Okay, all right. So next question here is, if a capital A goes into the lower zone. Okay, so let's say you write a capital A and the downward stroke goes into the lower zone. So capitals don't normally have lower zones. So if a capital A is pulled into the lower zone, that means that part of the letter structure is unnecessary. The lower zone that it's trying to acquire is unnecessary. So it means that this person could start some activity or do something with an intention of getting money and some physical help or physical advantage, which is not really required. Okay, let's say for example, you start a new shop of a garments and you invite your friends to have a look and celebrate and give you blessings so that the business goes forward from there. You have a small get together party on the first day of your shop just to invite people to show you the merchandise. Now, if you have this kind of a which goes downwards unnecessarily into the lower zone, what will happen is that somewhere you're going to tempt everybody in that invitee to buy something. Now that feels suddenly odd, right? You invited a person to just have a look. I mean, if they buy, it's their choice. But then if you tell them that you're only supposed to come to my shop only if you're going to buy something, then that becomes a bit awkward, right? So generally, a capital letter A which is unnecessarily pulled down the lower zone, the money mindedness and the physical nature of this person has got a wrong timing and a wrong purpose, and generally, it's not a good thing to do. Now, of course, if you have, let's say, a greeting card, and on a greeting card, you see all these fancy A's and B's all going to the lower zone, upper zone, unnecessarily everywhere. That's fine because in a celebration, it's not a big deal to have unnecessary lower zone. Okay. See, if I go to a party and if my friend, she wants to take a selfie, I'll stand next to her and I'll take a selfie, right? It's fine. And it's her birthday. I'll give her some money. Go buy something for yourself. When I give her a gift, it's a physical thing which I'm giving her. which is not necessarily required, but it's fun to give a gift to somebody on the birthday. Now, this is fine in a celebration, but if you do this to a random person on the street randomly, you ask for money or you take money, you take some physical help, or you ask for things that way, it feels a bit awkward. So, in a normal writing sample where it's going to be meant for analysis, if the person has unnecessary lotion, you have to be a little careful. And if it's a greeting card, then you need to enjoy the greeting card. Don't be too judgmental. All right. Okay. So next question is, what does it mean when the underscore or the lozen or letter? Okay. So let's say now this question is a good one. Let's say you have a signature and you have a G or a Y and it goes into the lower zone, and you draw an underscore below the signature to underline it. Now this underscore cuts across the lower zone aspects of the signature. Now I have two opinions about this. One is that your confidence and the nature of your highlighting is slightly more important than your money and your physical nature, which is not too bad for a signature. I mean, it depends on your lifestyle. But at the same time, because it puts crossover points on the lower zone, it kind of makes you question. It creates a question in the person's mind about their physicality and their monetary gain or let go. So, let's say, for example, if you are a retired person or if you're a person who is a simple homemaker, and let's say you're a simple teacher, you don't have too much of a fancy life, you have a very normal middle class life. It's fine to cut across the lower zone, no problem. In fact, it might be helpful because you will be properly questioning yourself um, when you want to buy something or you want to have something. You'll question whether you really require something or not, or is it just a fancy buy. But if let's say you're in a higher stage of life, let's say you're slightly richer, slightly more money flow in and out, and you're a big business person, you got many people depending on you to be successful so that their homes run. So that's where this crossing over of the signature at a higher level of society in terms of economic wealth or responsibility can be sometimes a negative trait for the signature. So if let's say we come across a person who is a high net worth, okay, high net income, and because of them many people's lives are running. So then when we see this crossover going across in the signature below in the lower zone, we tell the person please avoid because it could create multiple loss or multiple unnecessary questions. But if you are having a more of a normal life in a small family doing your own stuff, then it won't hurt you as much. Okay. All right. So that's an interesting question. That's lovely. Thank you. We've got around 4 to 5 minutes left. Thank you for your patience with this video. We initially started with a bit of a glitch today, but things have gone fine so far. And one person has written here to those who are watching to like the video. See, yes, a like to the video and subscription to the channel certainly does help me, but the nature of my channel is not for your entertainment, it is for your education. And in the way of educating, if you feel entertained, that's fantastic. There's no fancy graphics, there's no fancy, what I would say, equipment used. This is a simple cell phone camera that I'm speaking out of. I hope you're able to hear my voice clearly. So, my point is that, and your point of being here is that I have got some knowledge and some experience of graphology. It's more than 16 to 17 years. No, it's more than 16 years old. It could be a major advantage for you, but I just want to get it out. I have no use of this on a personal basis because whatever advantage I want, I do it on a daily basis. I use Graphology for my advantage. I use handwriting analysis to enjoy life. I've got the advantage. I've done it. When I learned Graphology, I went from a failure to a success. You can see my mark sheets from the fifth grade to the 12th grade. I was a continuous failure in multiple subjects. And once I learned Graphology, I became a distinction first class topper in my college where I was studying. For all 3 years of my graduation, my relationships got better, my financials got better, family life became better, health became amazing. I was There was a point of time when I used to have a lot of health issues almost every month. Some medicine or the other would be, I had to consume every month. But now I'm much better. I mean, not now, but last 16 years I'm much better. So I don't know exactly how this works in terms of the mechanism because the science behind it is very intricate. I require an expert brain surgeon, I need a body and language specialist, and I need many physicians, many people who are good at physics, and many people in those fields to give me certain explanations. Then I connect the dots. So I know that it works, and I know how to get you to the point where it works for you. And that's the point of these videos. So if by chance you're here for some fancy graphics or some fancy letter structures, and you want to make a stylish signature, you want to make something that is, you're here for entertainment, then I hope you're going to get as much as you can, because this here is meant for your education. The nature of my channel, if you see all my videos, is as simple as possible, because what is more important is the nature and the context of the information that has been given to you. If you use my information, what I'm shared with you, even if you don't believe it, practice it. There's no side effects. If you are able to make your letter A, B, C better, your signature better, I was given certain graphotherapy tips today also. If you start to practice it, and if it makes an advantage for you, if it works, then I would like that feedback to come on the channel below the video itself, or you can personally email me or send me a message on WhatsApp. If it doesn't work also, then also you message me. If it works also, then also you message me. Okay? It's very difficult to reach out to people, and I feel that internet and this YouTube channel, these live sessions are amazing. And possibly in the future, in the near future, I'll have also Instagram, I'll have also Facebook. So we'll have multiple channels where many more people can join us, many more people can have the advantage. Even if there are just 10 people over here watching this video, even if in the future 100 people have watched this video, and out of these 100 people, 90 people feel it's all rubbish, no problem. 10 people take advantage of the knowledge, and these 10 people get the advantage and they message me. I'm more concerned about these 10 people, because I know that if they give graphology a chance which I gave, then it can certainly change their life to a point where you can't recognize yourself to what extent you have changed. Okay, so whether it's graphotherapy, whether it's improved signature, whether it's improved handwriting, whether it's improved logos, whatever you improve, just make sure that you're guided well. For me or by anybody else, just make sure that it is making sense to you when you're being guided. Okay, so thank you very much. Today's session is done. Lovely questions. I hope my answers were relatable. Thank you for the likes. Thank you if you subscribed. My family is growing. I've got over 8,000 people who have subscribed to the channel, and I'm excited about more people joining my humble little family. Okay, so thank you very much, and see you next week on Wednesday. Thank you.